Our goal here is to make your job more fun and speed up the acquisition of Hanzi by our students between 10 and 30 times the current speed of Hanzi acquisition. And we're pretty confident we're going to achieve those goals. So, welcome to your platform. Navigate to newbychinese.com, N-E-W-B-Y, Chinese.com, and you want to log in. So this big orange login button, hit it. You have two options, logging in as a student or logging in as a teacher. No need for downloads, no need for students to remember passwords. You as a teacher start a live class that gives us a 3-letter code. Your students enter that 3-letter code and their name and they're in the class. And it'll work on any student devices, phones, tablets, laptops, Chromebooks, anything with an internet connection. I'll log in as a teacher and we'll start a class. My username, my password, log in. I get a list of my classes. It records the activity that has been going on, all the live chapters, live characters. So start a multiplayer session. Now, here is our 3-letter code. This will change every single time. In this instance, it's VAZ. So your students would then navigate to newbychinese.com and in that top box, enter VAZ and then enter their name and they'll be in the platform. You'll see their names pop up on a list here. So this code will change every time. Now the code is still displayed up here. And if you want to make it large, hit show login and we'll see it again. Okay, so here it is. Your students can just enter that pin, VAZ, enter their name, and their names will pop up here. We have well over 300 Chinese characters currently on the system, and you can dive in and start anywhere with any character whatsoever. You can jump into Wan, okay, and once you're in here, it works as a kind of a playable visual dictionary, and so on. Chapters that you can indulge in and get stuck into. The chapter of each character has an identical kind of template where they have similar exercises dedicated to the different visual attributes of each Chinese character. So, just to get you started and get you used to how the system works, we would recommend you start in the Ma chapter. The Ma chapter within the Ma visual family tree. It's called Galloping Horses and Flying Birds. You can get here two ways. You can either search for it in the visual family tree, or you can do a little search on your filter bar. Ma horse filter. Here it is. It's in this visual family tree and we're ready to go. Okay, let's get started. This is your main animation. Without watching this, none of these activities will work. So essentially this chapter is locked. Okay, so this is the main animation. We have to click it to watch it to activate the entire chapter.
Mama, Mama, horsey. A horse!
Ma, horse.
Ma, Mama.
Now, there are 4 main activities, groups of activities, okay? In here is find, where we're looking for an individual instance of this character. Find in a real-world phrase. Horse. Okay, which one is it?
Ma.
This is an excellent moment for you as a teacher to use your native knowledge of the language to discuss instances of, how ma can be used. Ride a horse.
Find.
Horse.
Ma.
Rocking horse. Cool.
Find.
Horse.
Ma.
Okay, ASAP. Why being on a horse was once upon a time the fastest way to get anywhere. Okay, so let's go back out. Let's play Invaders. Now you have 2 options in here. You can do a teacher demo or a multiplayer activity where all the students will do the same activity but on their own device. So let's go straight into demo. This is a great one to show your class what's about to happen. You can often get a volunteer up to the board and get them on your mouse and have the rest of the class kind of look on or cheer them on.
Find.
Horse.
Mama, Mama, horsey. Ma.
Okay.
Mama.
Okay, so there's one instance of this character, this target character on every line.
Ma, Ma, Ma.
And when you do it in multiplayer, it will now be on every single student's device. You'll see all their avatars here. And after round 1, they'll run, hit next round. They'll have to do it again. So 2 rounds of that same activity. We'll hear the target character coming out from their devices several hundred times in a few moments, in about 30 seconds. And then race finished. and we'll have a leaderboard. Okay, cool. Now that activity is done. This activity is currently locked because we all know Chinese characters don't never come alone. So you can't make either really a noun or a phrase with just ma. We need another character. So we'll see this activity open up once we move on to the next character. Okay, cool. Now this activity is essentially finished. Let's move on to this. Now this guy is the most powerful tool in this platform. And this is the one that's going to completely change your students' relationship with Chinese characters and how quickly they can speed up their onboarding of Hanzi characters. Now, we have a little information. I'll just clear this. As you fly through these lineups of characters, Cool, let's watch that later. Okay, so here is a lineup of Chinese characters, all involving this building block, horse, ma. Okay, and this exercise is in essence to train them in a new skill, that of identifying exactly which Chinese visual building block is within a Chinese character, but also exactly where it is. So here's horse. Let's just start with horse. Cool. There's horse. Now you have two main buttons here. This one is shuffle. So what it will do is shuffle them all up. Okay, now where's horse? Second last. Horse. Cool. Where is horse? Third last. Where is horse? Second last. So now your students will get the game and they'll understand what's about to happen. So let's look at a couple of other ones here. We have mother. Cool. Now they don't necessarily understand this is pronounced ma. We have deliberately left out the Chinese pronunciation here to allow them to offload that cognitive burden and instead concentrate fully on the visual elements. They will, when they do the ma chapter, the ma, when they do the ma chapter, they'll go through the full experience of this character with the writing elements, the tracing elements. The different colors are related to the different tones, and we'll talk about that later. But for the moment, they are just in the horse chapter. And so here, we have left out the pronunciation deliberately. Okay, so you can train them in this new skill of reading visually Chinese characters. So where's horse? Horse. Nice. Where's mother? There it is. Mother. Okay, let's look at two others just to highlight what exactly we're doing. These two, ma and zhu. Ma and zhu. So the number that comes up below them is the frequency of this Chinese character used in modern Chinese. So for example, ma is the 276th, if you can see the number, 276, the 276th most used Chinese character. Okay, one is de, wo de, okay, and so on, and in decreasing frequency. So ma is pretty highly used, 276. Ma lia, the ma, is 1248, 1248th most used Chinese character. It's pretty heavily used, as is zhu, 1288. But the reason they're in here is because they're essentially flipped emojis. Here we have king on the left, horse on the right. First syllable of Mary or Maria.
Maria.
And it's also an excellent instance of a Chinese character or emoji being used to sound out foreign names rather than have its own meaning. Whereas zhu is essentially horse on the left, and it's not king, it's owner on the right. Stationed somewhere, perhaps as a reporter or soldier. So what's the new skill set here? It's identifying exactly which visual building blocks are within a character. Was it king or was it owner? Okay, and what the orientation is. Was horse on the right or was horse on the left? So they've been carefully selected to train in this new reading skill. Now, lineups like this typically take about 5 minutes for any group of kids. It's incredibly fast. Because we've left out the Chinese pronunciation, they're not cognitively burdened with that, and they can fly through these lists incredibly quickly. Okay, so where's horse? Horse. Where's mother? Mother. The other button I use here is this button. This is essentially a mute, turn off the volume, for the character that's playing out. So for example, this one has audio. Stationed somewhere. If I hit this, it mutes it, it brings them all back. And we can use this to do a kind of really quick review. So if we're like, where's horse? Horse. Cool. Where's mother? Mother. Where's station somewhere? Station. Where's Maria? First. Where's inspect? Test. And so on. Okay. Again, you're talking a couple of minutes for most groups of kids. Very, very fast. So don't worry if you feel you're going off the beaten track by looking at characters like Ma or Mammoth. Things like Ma are like a single view for children. They're done. It's good. Okay, it's in their heads now forever. Gameplay. Okay, now this is where we reinforce our ability to deal with Chinese characters, Hanzi, without pinyin. So this is a warm-up exercise. We have both demo and multiplayer, as we've seen before. This will push it to everyone's device. This is find the characters you've just memorized. I'd recommend doing this on the teacher's device in every time we do a lineup. Horse, okay, mother, and you'll see they've been a spoken question mark. They've been stacked quite deliberately and sequenced. Because the difference between ma and ma is this stone radical, which is quite like the mouth, and so on. And so on. Okay, excellent. This was the Compound Invaders. It's really a warm-up for this activity. This is incredibly fun. Now, there's a demo, there's multiplayer. Maybe you want to try demo, but the real fun is in multiplayer. Now, we'll play demo to show you how it works.
First syllable of Mary or Maria.
Get the right pipe or
First
die.
syllable of Mary or Maria.
Okay. Now, all your
First
students
syllable of
should be
Mary
logged
or
in here.
Maria.
They have to get the right pipe or they'll die.
First syllable of Mary or Maria.
Early. Okay. This game only works in multiplayer. I can't demo it now. It's a lot of fun. This game gets all the kids to shout out the character, and now we move on to translate. And now we'll start seeing Chinese characters in real world context. So we have our little clue down here. We're looking to translate this phrase. Yeah, too easy. Ride a horse. Yeah, okay, there's our clue. Now, they can't necessarily say this phrase in Chinese, 骑马, but it doesn't matter. What we're making them is very, very comfortable dealing solely in Chinese characters without any pinyin. We can flip the languages, so by hitting this button, and now it's a little bit more cognitively difficult for them. Okay, let's move on. Ma shang, horse on. Okay, let's flip the language again. Ruler code, number code. Okay, boom. Minimum rise up number. Cool. Password. Nice one. And so now they're dealing with, as we said, Chinese characters. Chinese characters in real world context, getting very comfortable with them. Okay, next over. So we've completed all of the gameplay in here. These 5 exercises, incredible. Let's go into handwriting. Now, we have two main activities. We have both trace and we have freehand. Ignore this for the moment. Trace and freehand. In trace, you can do demo or multiplayer. You usually want to do demo at the start. Okay, so this only works in the correct direction. Okay, so you have to get the right sequence and direction. The little map here if you need it, if they need it. Okay, so one more time. Every time you do it, this trace outline will begin disappearing. So as we do it more and more, the trace outline disappears until it's gone. Now, it will pulse back every few seconds if the screen is not clicked to kind of help them out. Little hint. Very nice. Okay. Multiplayer, they'll have a 3-round race to trace that character. Next round. Again, you'd see all their avatars running on screen. And next round. And race finished. Great. And a leaderboard. Excellent. Now, let's go freehand. Freehand gets really interesting. So we have an info movie here on the left to show you what the colors represent.
When you say a red character, your voice carries high and flat like a laser beam. Ah. Green characters rise like green grass grows. Up. Blue characters dip and rise like ocean waves. Down and up. Yellow characters fall like autumn leaves. Down.
So we have to choose the right color, and we're trying to draw ma. Okay, so it's blue, 3rd tone. Now, as we begin to draw it, we'll notice a number up here. The number indicates the start of the stroke, but also the sequence. So now you can start seeing, after the fact, the sequence and the direction that I chose to draw. So, for example, if I draw it like this, we can see that this was drawn incorrectly. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Done. Now when your students begin to submit them, they'll do them on their own devices and submit, and we'll start to see the sequence and the color that they chose. And now we can discuss them, we can grade them, and and so on, and finished. So we can catch live a class of 30 kids and we can see exactly what their stroke order was, instead of trying to catch them live writing on a piece of paper and making mistakes. Now, we're pretty much done here. And the next is text input. And we'll deal with this in a later video, mostly, but essentially you set people up to write in Chinese really quickly. And if we're looking for horse, we can now push this to the entire group, and they're going to have to, on their own devices, type in ma and submit. Okay, so once I push the group, again, we'll have our submit page and we'll see the characters fly up on the screen. And so we can see that they can actually type in Chinese. Cool. Now, this is done. Brilliant. Now, that a normal class does not take very long, although it's their first class, so you're getting accustomed to it. This lineup took 4 or 5 minutes. They fly through them, they get the gameplay, and now they're addicted to learning, having loads of fun, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters visually kind of under their belt. Now, this is where things start getting faster. What if on class 2 you went for mother? Now notice it's black, it's not live, so I have to, none of this will work until I hit this.
Mama. 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 Ma means mother. You almost always say it twice. Mama. Mama.
She's going to be a cool character. Okay, now we're within the Ma chapter. Now you'll notice there are 2 chapters that are live, both Ma and Ma. And now visually they can see with these hover icons very, very clearly what the distinction is. Okay, and now they are learning to identify more visual building blocks. So let's go into find.
Mother. Mama.
Cool.
Find mother. Mama.
Cool.
Find mother. Mama.
Unreal.
Find mother. Mama.
Unreal.
Find mother. Mama.
Lovely. Okay, now when we go into invaders, we'll have a medley of...
Mama.
Let's just do the first one.
Mama. Find mother.
Okay, now we'll have a medley between
Mama.
mother.
Mama. 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 Mama.
And
Horse.
okay, now they'll cycle. So essentially we're doing revision.
Ma.
Okay, and so on.
Mama. Horse.
Between all the live chapters. Now hit multiplayer. This is where things get loads of fun. Okay, now as we and now this is live. This phrase invaders. Okay, because now we have a noun, 2 characters that go together to make a phrase, or a noun rather. So now we're looking for
Mama.
lovely.
Find
Mother.
Let's see. There we go.
Mama. Mama.
So let's go into visual building blocks. And now what you'll notice is we have another lineup involving horse, except this time there's a different flavor to the lineup. We have
Curse, swear, or abuse.
so some of them they will have seen before.
Ant, or similar insects.
an ant.
So they'll have some ones they've seen before, like question mark and so on.
Charge, or rush in.
So in this way, they're picking up new characters very, very, very quickly. And now they've reinforced the fact that Ma is this recyclable visual building block. Now, we have this interesting button here, which presents us with a new lineup. So Ma is a compound character. It has new on the left, Ma on the right. Let's go. What's in the new lineup? Everything under new. So we have a video here for new. We can watch it.
Hey, who's the new girl?
New girl, woman or female. It's like new, except you kind of bend the EW into new. From new to new. In Pinyin, it's often written NV. New.
Hey, who's the new girl?
Okay, now we have this lineup dedicated to woman or female.
Peace.
Come peacefully. We come in peace, come peacefully.
Okay, cool. We have things like
Receive.
Thank you.
and you can see why we would pick things like
If what?
and
Start. Let's start.
you can see why we would put in ru and shi because they're so visually similar. We have this slightly different visual building block. So we're deliberately training kids to look at exactly what visual building blocks are within a character and exactly where they are. Let's see, we have shu and lo. So again, it leads to incredible confusion generally in Chinese, but here we're deliberately contrasting them to train them in this new ability. Okay, so
Multi-story building.
versus
Numbers.
Number 28154.
I'm not just a number. Shoo, shoo.
boom, you have two lineups. So as we go out, so now we can go on to handwriting, we can go into the trace function, we have to get the sequence right. Do we have a little hint here? We do have a little hint. Awesome. And so on, we can push that to everyone. We can do freehand. Again, you're going to want to choose the right color, red. We have the little right map up here. Yeah, cool. They can use that as a hint. And again, these number sequencing is incredibly useful. Okay, and so on. And then we have text input. So suggest mother, which is just one character, I believe. So we can push that to the group. We can get them to type ma on their phones or devices or whatever and get it up here. Okay, now there's one element of this system that we haven't fully dealt with in this video. And we're going to show you now. What we're building essentially is this playable, gamified visual dictionary of Chinese characters built into visual family trees. Now, the problems really arise in Chinese for most people when it comes to visual building blocks that have no names, not even in Chinese. So what about the top part of Mei? Mei, go the Mei. It's definitely not Yang. Because it doesn't have that tail. So in most fonts you see this, there's a small separation between the top and the da. So what is this? Well, without a name, Western learners just can't cognitively lock it into place and make it an efficient memorization process. But if we give it an efficient way to be memorized, then it's really, really easy. And it also looks like Wang. So why not tie it to Wang so they can build on Wang cognitively?
This is bunny ears. You won't see bunny ears on its own, but you will see it in things like
Ginger.
cake and ginger cake. Just don't confuse it for goat or sheep.
Yang.
Try and spot the difference.
So excellent. So now we have this name for bunny ears and we can see it in these lineups. Boom. And it's in
American or beautiful.
cool. It's in
Ginger. To cover.
okay, and so on. What about something like a Jue? Now, Jue is incredibly obscure character. I mean, it's a short-tailed bird. But and it's number 5837 on that frequency list of Chinese, so people will never encounter on their own. But here's something really, really similar. We have
Wang.
okay, we've Wang, cool. We have this guy.
Ooh. I own everything.
Okay, and we have this thing. Now, this looks really like Zhu, except this extra little line.
This is the hopper host. It's the host on a hopper. The hopper host.
Now, at a later date, he can be quite fond of short-tailed birds. Cool.
Always see it with Ren on one leg.
But now we have a name, an immediately accessible name for Western learners. And what they can do is they can apply that Jue knowledge to a lineup of characters. So, for example, here is Jue on its own, which is 5837, so incredibly obscure character, but it's now made simple.
The hopper host.
Awesome. But if you want to look at 505, Tui,
Push.
Don't push me.
or
Difficult.
295,
Is that difficult?
or who? 648.
Who are you?
Who's that?
Okay, so as we go, what we'll find is characters begin to have their, so for example, okay, who has two lineups, one for messenger, one for Hopper Host. And so we're building this fluency and ability of Western learners to essentially name what's in there. Now, if we go back to our dashboard, we've activated a load of Chinese characters. So that is essentially how Newby Chinese works, and it's going to be a lot of fun.